Every month here on the channel, focus does indeed shift to Cathay Pacific as they release their traffic figures for the month just gone. Over the past week, while I was relocating to Canada, Cathay Pacific released their results for April 2022. After continued drops in overall traffic continued, I was incredibly intrigued to hear just what their results would be for the month. The airline noted that they moved 40,823 passengers in April, even following a marginal relaxation in restrictions. This is still a decrease of 98.7% over pre-pandemic numbers. Those numbers are gathered from their performance in April of 2019, as naturally, numbers from April 2020 cannot be compared. However, carrying 40,000 plus passengers is still an increase in April 2021's numbers. It has been quoted at being an 82.2% increase. This is everything you need to know about just how dire the situation is, with carrying 40,000 passengers for a month still so low, but being still such an improvement where we can say it's an 82% increase year on year. They know that things need to change, the world knows that, but it seems to be a lot out of their control. The Chief Customer and Commercial Officer at Cathay Pacific, Ronald Lamb, said April saw some positive developments for our travel business with improved demand across our network, following the lifting of the ban on inbound flights from 9 countries on 1 April, in addition to the adjustment of the quarantine period from 14 to 7 days for travellers arriving in Hong Kong. We saw increased demand among residents wishing to return home to the city, in particular from the UK. In view of this stronger demand, we increased our passenger capacity by about 25% compared with March. However, we still only operated about 2% of our pre-pandemic passenger flight capacity last month. That says everything you need to know. While some countries are now able to fly into Hong Kong, there's still quarantine. And in a world where quarantine has been widely abolished, many people are not going near Hong Kong. With 7 days in quarantine and of course heavy restrictions on anyone coming into the location, it proves near on impossible. The increase in flights, though, is certainly helping the offering to customers that are looking to fly on the network, but it didn't necessarily equate to a positive performance as you would expect. Work still needs to be done, and for Cathay Pacific, those improvements need to come now rather than later, as sustaining these operations for a considerable period is something not only that's not attainable, but also something that would significantly damage the airline beyond repair, putting its future within the aviation industry at risk, something with every passing month we inch closer to. Regarding freight, Cathay has been fortunate at the very least to have this at their disposal. The airline carried some 92,000 tonnes of cargo in the month, which increased 26% over the year prior, but the results were still just below 50% on pre-pandemic numbers. Now compared to the passenger numbers, you can still see a massive improvement and a stark contrast overall. Ronald Lamb continued on by saying demand was mixed, with cargo exports from Shanghai affected by the city's lockdown, which has disrupted supply chains in the eastern part of the Chinese mainland. On the other hand, demand from Hong Kong began to recover as cross-border bottlenecks began to ease, driven primarily by sea feeders that helped offset the impact of cross-trained, cross-border trucking services. In the next couple of months, the airline will see additional services added to their network, in line with hopefully a further easing of restrictions. So, as always, you can expect me to be keeping a close eye on their developments in the future, taking a look at every single month just how many passengers they're carrying, and whether we continue to see not just an improvement, but also improvements that show a stronger amount of passengers carried than, say, just 40%. If you have any thoughts on the situation currently ongoing at Cathay Pacific, you can always let me know down below in the comments. Like I said, keep your eyes peeled as there will be more coverage in the future on the Hong Kong-based airline. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.